おはようございます。Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining our test for Final Fantasy 14 Letter from the Producer Live number 68、第68回 Final Fantasy 14プロデューサーレターライブのテスト放送へご参加くださり誠にありがとうございます。本番のレターライブ PLL はですね、この後日本時間、11時、午前11時、あと45分後に始まりますけれども、その前にですね、映像音声問題ないかの、最終確認を行わせていただければと思います。So the actual letter live will kick off at 11 a.m. Japan time, which is in 45 minutes. And then before that, we'd like to confirm if the video and audio are working perfectly. So if you notice anything, please leave your comment in your chat. 何かお気づきの点がありましたらいいよとかちょうどいいとかいうのを含めまして、ご覧の放送チャンネルのチャットに残していただければ、技術チームが確認いたしますのでよろしくお願いいたします。そして今日は、フルバイリンガルで、今回の PLL もお送りしますので、ワラレスクエニックスアメリカのオフィスからあいみさんにお入りいただいております。So once again, this letter live will be full bilingual in both in Japanese and English. So we have a special member from our US office. あいみさん、おはようございます。Good morning.
おはようございます。Good morning.
なので、あいみさんもちょっとご挨拶いただいて、音声のバランスチェックさせてください。
はい、スクエアエニックスアメリカの徳武あいみです。Hello, my name is Aimi Tokutake from the Square Enix Los Angeles office. 音声のチェックを行っております。This is a mic check for Aimi. Please let us know if you can hear me alright. どうしましょう。喋り続けた方がよろしいでしょうか。
大丈夫かな。そうね。そうもちろんそうですよ。日本とアメリカの画面を合成しておりますので、若干の差はねありますよね。だからしょうがない。ね、あいみさんはこう見えて、グリーンバックの前に座っていらっしゃいますということですね。
夢を壊すようで恐縮です。It's almost like I'm here in the studio, but I'm actually sitting in front of a green screen. My colleague has set up a very nice chroma key setup, and yeah, it's as if I'm there, but you may experience slight lag. I'm not sure, but hopefully it's almost simultaneous. I'm hoping. なんか間違って被って皆さんが喋ってる時に被ったらいけないですが、多分ほぼリアルタイムですよね。
大丈夫だと思います。はっ、私には遠くから足音が聞こえるぞ。よかった。真ん中の席のマイクチェックもできるに違いない。おはようございます。Good morning。ちょうどマイクのチェックをするところでございます。We are now checking microphones。はい、こちら。はい。
出ます。3画面構成。
そうなんです。
で、
そこらにイヤホンがとあるはずで、あいみさんの声そこからです。
ちょっとこっち？
はい。
はい。おはようございます。
おはようございます。
ということで、
チャットがいっぱい。
吉田さんの声が聞こえないなんてことはあるまい。
まあそれは大丈夫でしょう。
We can hear Yoshida-san's voice just fine.
大丈夫そうですね。
あいみさんはおはようございますじゃないのか。こんばんはか。
こんばんはになりますね。お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様です。よろしくお願いします。
We were just talking about how Japan is like, oh yeah, good morning, and it's quite early actually. It's like 9 or 10 in the morning. 10 in the morning, I think. But in the US, it's like a little after 5 p.m. So it's like good evening on my end.
ということで本日の PLL はこんな感じでお送りしていきたいと思います。
まあ本当はね節目ということで、
はい、
いつも通り開発ブースからやろうかなと思ったんですけど、のっぴきならない事情がありまして、
そうなんです。
スタジオを皆さんに無理を言ってですね、急遽すいませんスタジオでやらせてくださいということになったんで、今日はスタジオからお届けします。
So of course, today was a sort of milestone. So it would have been nice to do it in the developer's room back at the Tokyo studio, but there was a bit of an issue that we ran into. So at the last minute, we have rented a space to do our event, and so we're doing it at another location outside of the office.
なんか音がずれてるって言ってる人がいるね。これどこだろう。これニコニコ。
Right in one of the channels.
大丈夫。音ずれ。なんかね、何人かがね、なんか吉田の口パクと音が合ってないっつって。
ほう、音ずれチェック。
俺だけ音がずれてる感じがするっつってる。俺だけちょっと時間を歪めてる可能性がある。
奇跡ですね。
We seem to be seeing a delay with just Yoshida-san's movement and then his voice, and there seems to be some kind of lag. Is Yoshida-san warping time? Like, does his presence change?
ちょっとじゃあテストがてら滑らない話をしてもいい？
はい、どうぞ。すごい雰囲気。
Just a quick story, anecdote here.
昨日さ、結構仕事でさ、なんか昼過ぎに結構大惨事があったじゃない？はい、メールであなたも見てたと思うんですけど、で会議がすごくて、もうとてもじゃないけどその作業夜しかできなかったのね。
So yesterday, we were working, of course, and then you might have seen an intercompany email happening, and stuff was going on, and there seemed to have been quite a fire that I had to put out. So there was a lot of meetings that I had to attend, and I couldn't get to my work until night.
でまあ気分でも変えようと思って、今日放送だし、最近ほらなんだろう、みんな在宅が多いからさ、あんま服を買わないので、ちょっとなんか今日の放送用に服でも一瞬見てこようと思って会社を出たの、夕方1回で、いつも通りこうほらなんだろう、俺あんまり関係なく外出するときってサングラスかけるじゃない。でまあいつも通り出たのね、会社を。
And I thought to myself, okay, so I want to just switch gears. So I'm going to step out once. And because we've been in this pandemic and we've been kind of stuck at home, I didn't really have a chance to go out like clothes shopping or updating my wardrobe. So I thought, well, maybe if I get like an outfit for today's live stream. And so I decided I'm going to step out for a little bit of a break. And so I left the office once in the evening. And of course, I typically wear sunglasses when I step outside.
そしたら会社の前で会社の看板の前でふっとね、左側にキャリーケースを引いてる若者かなともう一人いるなっていう気配は感じつつ、バッとすれ違ったら、斜め後ろから吉田さんって声かけられたの。
And of course, I walked outside, and just as I was kind of passing the Square Enix sort of sign, I noticed there was somebody like rolling their carrying suitcase or like a rolling case. And then there was, I think there was one more person there, and I could sense them, but I just kept walking. So as I passed them, I started to notice they were trying to call me. They were like, "Ah, Yoshida-san, Yoshida-san."
非課線かなと思ったの、瞬間的に。
So I mean, I thought maybe, okay, they might be a player. They might be one of the Warriors of Light.
でバッて振り返ったら、そのキャリーケースを引いてた若者があっていう感じで、あ、すいません、思わず声をかけちゃいましたって言われたの。
And so I turned around, expecting that they might know me. But the person who was carrying their rolling suitcase suddenly realized, they were like, oh, I'm sorry. I called upon you without really noticing.
で、あれ、河川って感じじゃなさそうだなって思ったら、その彼がね、いや実は僕新卒でこの4月からスクエアニックスでに入社することになったんですって言ってきてね。
So I thought, oh, well, maybe he isn't a 14 player. He's not a Warrior of Light. And so he starts talking. He says, oh, yes, I just recently gotten accepted to be part of the Square Enix team. And so starting April, I'm going to be part of the Square Enix family.
で、おおそうなんだよかったねってもうすぐじゃあ一緒に頑張ろうねっていう声をかけたのね。
And so I was like, "Oh, congratulations! Well, yeah, welcome to the family. I look forward to working with you."
でそしたら「はい」って言ってくれて「じゃあね」って言ってこう立ち去ろうとしたんだ僕。その時なんと吉田の目に飛び込んできたのは
And so he was like, "Yes, I will do my best." And so I thought I was going to part ways. So as I was walking away, there was something that caught my eye.
もう一人いるなって思ってたの気配で。で俺がこう振り向いてまた歩き出そうとしたこの瞬間に目に飛び込んだのがお母さんとおぼしき人が僕の顔を見てっていう顔をしていたのが焼き付いたのよ。
So I remembered as I was passing that person by, there was another person with that man with his suitcase. So when I started walking, the other figure caught my eye, and apparently I think it was his mother, and she just had this look of like a big gasp on her face.
いやその昨日はね15年ぶりに買い替えたスモークジャンパーブーツに黒いデニムに黒いコートを着て黒いサングラスに黒いマスクをしてたのよ。
I went outside with my updated wardrobe, and it's just it was my jacket, and then my black boots, my black denim, my black sunglasses as I walked out.
きっとね20年以上ね手塩にかけてきた息子をね多分今2月だからさ、この4月からきっと地方から来たんだと思うの。で会社の近くにきっと家もね見つけてで引っ越しの荷物は業者で身の回りのものだけスーツケースに入れて多分お母さんがね送ってきたんじゃないかなとストーリー的にね俺の中で思ったの。
And so I'm sure this young man of 20 some odd years, this mother must have taken really good care of him. And he mentioned that he's going to start in April. So they must have come from, maybe not from Tokyo. They are planning to move and have him relocate and live on his own. And maybe they just found a house and they're making arrangements for like movers to bring his stuff. And he just has his like belongings in a rolling suitcase. And so perhaps like I have this story in my mind of like his mother came with him to send him off and whatnot.
で、きっと2人でね、母さんこれが僕が4月から働く会社だよって多分うちのね、看板の前で話してたんだと思うの。
立派なビルだしね。
And I'm sure those two were like excitedly talking about his future. Like, Mom, see, this is where I'm going to be working from this April. I mean, I was right there by the Square Enix sign.
Yeah, it's a giant building.
いやねまあ本人は僕を知ってたみたいだからあれなんですけど、お母さんのね不安たるや。いや一応ね俺サングラスの中ではすごい多分柔らかい目をしてたしマスクの下ではにっこり微笑んでたのよちゃんと自分的には。でも見えるわけがないんだよ。
I'm glad that the young man knew who I was, but like the look on his mother's face and just how worried she looked. I mean, I was doing my best to smile and have the warmest of expressions underneath my black sunglasses and my black mask, but there is no way you can see it.
いやね心にお母さんの心に深い傷とね不安を与え僕は僕でなぜかダメージを受けまあ多分4月になればねコロナ禍ではあるけど簡単なきっと懇親会でもあるだろうから取締役とねその子を見つけたらねあの後お母さん大丈夫だったってごめんねって言おうかなって思いましたっていう滑らない話でした。
確かに滑らない話だった。
And so I worry if we had left a very deep wound in the mother's heart, and for some reason her look on her face just damaged me a little bit too. So I'm hoping that I'm sure when we have our new recruits, like there should be some kind of congratulatory meeting in April, some kind of like a meet and greet with some of the management team. I'm hoping. So I'm gonna look for that young man and ask him, was your mother all right after that? And I'm sorry if I left some kind of impression. I'm hoping I get a chance to say that. And that was my
で
anecdote.
も別れた後の会話ももう決まってるじゃないですか。何あの人そしたら若者は多分うちの取締役だよって言って取締役ってなりますよね
I can imagine their conversation afterwards, like, well, who was that person? And the young man is going to answer, oh, he's one of the board of directors. And mother's going to go, board of directors.
大変
ちょっとね、
Oh, yikes.
社会に反逆しそうな感じに見えるからね。
Yeah, for sure. I definitely look like I would go against the grain of your typical societal norms, I guess.
まあでもきっとね、一生懸命説明してくれるんじゃないかなと思うんだよね。
But I'm hoping the young man will convince his mother that everything is fine.
なんだったらだって、いや、ああ見えて意外とちゃんとした人だよって言って今日も放送あるみたいだから見てみようよって言ってもしかしたら親子揃って見てくれてるかもしれないね。お母さんはその説は本当申し訳ございませんでした。普段からあんなんなんです。ごめんなさい。
And maybe he did a good job trying to explain, like, oh, well, he may look like that, but he's a very decent person. And there's going to be a live stream tonight. And maybe, Mom, let's watch together or something like that. Maybe they're actually watching mother and son, this live stream. If you are watching this show, I'm terribly sorry to have scared you earlier.
時期慣れますか？大丈夫です。
Yes, I'm always like that, but we will get used to it.
そんな僕のロングストーリーを語ってる間にどうですかね、訪れとか。
訪れること治りました。
それを確認してもらうために僕この恥ずかしい話をしてるんで。
身を切る思いをしてね。
どうですか？
はい、音治りました。
Let us see what our audio is like. It seems like there was a delay, but how are we doing here? We were doing this long story just so that we can double check them in.
はい、ということで、テストは以上の感じで大丈夫です。で、この後ですね、Twitch だけ、一応一旦配信止めてすぐリスタートしますので、Twitch の皆さんだけ一瞬切れますので、その点だけご了承ください。
なるほど、なるほど。
So I think we are, for the most part, good, but we will need to restart the Twitch channel. So we might drop out once and then come back on just for the Twitch channel.
それよりね、第3次の中身がもう気になるっていう人でいやなんか違うの最近なんかほらメタバースっていう単語がね、日本でやたら流行ってて結構ねインタビューとかなんか寄稿してほしいとかが多いんですよ。でまあ14の宣伝になればと思って受けてはいるんですけど
People seem to have latched onto there was something going on, like a great tragedy that was happening in the emails, and people are wondering what that was. But like, I think people had been hearing about the metaverse starting up, and that word is just kind of it's catching on. And so there has been several like requests for interviews, and I figured like, well, if it was an opportunity to advertise for Final Fantasy 14, then why not? And so I would accept those opportunities.
まあできるだけねこう人によって今捉え方がまちまちだから、僕が考えるメタバースって何かっていうのをできるだけ正確に誤解なきように伝えようと思って、まあそのインタビューさせてもらった原稿がもう戻ってきたやつを修正してたの。そのやっぱりその僕が直接書いてるわけじゃないからどうしてもこうニュアンスが変わってしまったりする場合があるので、まあそれを構成って呼ぶんだけど、まあそれをやって足りないなと思うとかちょっと加筆したりとかってやってて、まあね結構な人数でチェックもして、ね、ここ分かりづらくないかなとかっていうのを結構やったんですよ。
Of course, with doing these interviews, I want to convey what my thoughts are on the whole concept of the metaverse in a very accurate and in a way that doesn't cause any sort of misunderstanding. And so I get to look at the content of what the article is going to say before we publish it. And I have the opportunity to review what is written, because sometimes a verbal response might not necessarily translate properly onto paper. So we are allowed to look at it and offer our edits to the editorial company. And so there were certain areas I was checking and I was adding to it if I felt that I was lacking in some of the wording. And man, I think at least several people were checking the content of the article.
ちょっと待った。Twitch がさノー NFTs ってすごい叫んでんだけどさ、メタバースと NFT 全く関係ないやろ。落ち着いて。
そうそう、まず聞こう。もうちょっと面白い話だよ。
we're hearing things, we're seeing the comments in Twitch saying no NFTs, but just wanted to clarify, like NFTs and the metaverse are like unrelated to each other, and what we're discussing here is a bit more interesting than that.
14に NFT なんか入らないから、あとやめて。
And there's no way we're going to be including. We're not going to be including NFTs in 14. So please, I think we can drop this subject. We need to calm down a little bit.
落ち着いて。
Y'all need to calm down.
でまあそんなので770行ぐらいの原稿になってたんですよ。そしたら昨日ですね、昨日締め切りだったんだよね。そしたらね、入らないから330行にしてくれって言われて、ちょっと待ってよって。びっ
くりした。
あれびっくりしたね。
閉じたもんすぐ。あっと思ってメール閉じちゃった。
And so we were looking at this article, we were making sure that everything is good, and we were proofreading it. And then it turned out to be about 770 lines of text. And I believe the deadline was yesterday, so we were trying to get it done. But when we received the feedback, it was like, oh, I'm sorry, this article won't fit in the space allocated, so could you reduce it down to 330 lines? And we were all like, what?
Yeah, I just closed my email. Straight away.
昨日それを結局夜中までかかってなんとか330行348行ぐらいにしてもう俺の本文は削りようがないからなんか他で削れそうなところは提案しとくからあとは編集さん側でなんとかお願いしますっていう大惨事があったんですよ。
And so I tried my best to narrow it down and I did my best, but like it was still 348 lines and I couldn't cut any further out of what I had said. So I returned it to the editor saying that, hey, I'm going to make some more suggestions of where you can cut, but I can't cut any more of what I had said. And so that was the issue that was happening behind the scenes.
まあこれはでもねしょうがなくて実は僕ら長年やっぱりこうゲームインダストリーでインタビューとか取材が多くてやっぱウェブ媒体その紙があったとしてもウェブ掲載もありますみたいなので、文字数溢れてもまあ掲載の、なんだろう機会ってどっかにあるだろうからフルバージョンっていう形でやれればっていうのがそれも全員にあったんですけどやっぱりこう経済誌とか、その紙面とかになってくるとでやっぱりここまでこだわって構成する人があんまりいないんだろうなと思っていて、だからやっぱりこう今後はその文字数とかその1行あたりのこう文字数とかっていうのをきっちり事前に仕様を聞いた上で構成するならした方がいいかなっていうのが今回のまあ学びでしたねっていう。はい、
I mean, I think it's the way we write articles nowadays, considering the game industry and the different interviews that are being held, and a lot of media nowadays, even if they have a print media, they typically have like a web version of whatever article they write. So if something doesn't fit in the print version, it could always be used as further content on the web version. And I think the team was kind of under that assumption for this interview as well. And so I think this was more like a financial paper that we had to interview for, and it was more like a print media. And I think there's just fewer and fewer places that have a very sort of strict limitation on how they structure their articles. And so it was definitely a learning point for me to understand how many characters and or how many letters need to fit in a certain line of text before I had went into it with our sort of edits.
そんな中、宣伝チームから今朗報が届きまして、調整版で問題なく受領いただけましたということで、ありがとうございます。
And it seems like we have approval with the updated version of the article. Hooray! Our edits were accepted.
でまあもうテストなんでそろそろ終わんないとあれだけど、一個だけさっきね結構その NFT に対して NFT は反対だっていう声がまあ Twitch 中心に特にね海外の人たちすごくナーバスになってると思うんだ。まあスクエアニックスの社長の松田が昇進表明みたいな形で今年のお話を出したから、ちょっとやっぱりナーバスになってるなっていうところがあるなと思います。
And I do want to touch upon, I know we are doing just our test broadcast, so we need to end soon, but we did notice a lot of reactions from especially the Western users about the NFTs, many comments about how you are opposed to NFTs. I do understand that our CEO, Matsuda, had commented on the concept of NFT in his sort of New Year's greetings, in his messaging, and there may be a bit of sensitivity, a little bit of nervousness happening around the topic.
でまあはっきりさっきも言いましたけど、14でもう一切なんだろうゲームデザイン上そういうものじゃないので、やる気はないので、まずそれは安心して、もし不安に思ってるんだったら安心してほしい。それも明言しておくのでやらないです。はい。
And I did mention it earlier, but based on how Final Fantasy XIV is designed, we don't intend on incorporating any sort of NFT element in the game at this point. So if anybody is worried or concerned about it, I can clearly state at this time that we do not have any intentions to incorporate that into the game.
ただ見てると NFT をいわゆるマイニングされたものをただ掘り返すものなんじゃないかっていうふうにやっぱ勘違いしてる人もすごい多いなとは思ってるので、まあ、今度その海外の何かインタビューで、吉田さんが考えるその14とは関係なしにね、吉田さんが考える NFT って何ですかみたいな機会があれば、しっかりその新しいビジネスモデルでゲームが面白くなる可能性があるものだとは思ってるので、ただそれに対してやっぱそれ専用のゲームデザインが必要だと思ってるんで、まあ、その辺一回こう詳しくというか、解説する機会があればね、話してみようかなとは思ってるんで、まずはねみんなが思うような悪いことはならないし、ゲームはまずねお金がどうこういう前にやっぱ面白いかどうかとか、まあファンであるっていうことが最優先だと思ってるんで、そこはね安心してもらいたいです。はい。
But looking at how people are reacting to the subject matter, there also seems to be a good amount of people who may have it misconstrued as something that this is like a mining effort, that's something that you are digging up. And there might be some misconception about what exactly an NFT is. And so I would love, if there is an opportunity to speak to the subject of NFTs in an interview or something that's in an interview that is completely unrelated to Final Fantasy XIV, because it is an opportunity for a new business model. And I do believe that the vehicle itself could potentially be something that makes the concept of a video game a little bit more interesting. But that being said, we would need a specific game design that would accommodate for that concept of NFTs. And so if there ever is an opportunity to go into it in deeper detail, I would like to sort of talk about it. And I think there's a potential of utilizing it without going in a wrong direction or like a bad direction. And with any sort of video game, I think before we even talk about the financials or like monetary discussions, I think we need to make sure that the game itself is fun and are there fans of the game? And so I think that's a very important piece that we still need to keep in mind with games.
さあ、というわけでまあ簡単に言うと14に NFT が入ったり来たりしないので安心してねって話なので以上です。じゃあテスト終わって少し休憩したら本番行きましょうか。
はい。
But yeah, again, no NFTs in FF14, so don't worry. But yeah, I think that's it for now. We will take a little bit of a break and then we will get into the main part of the broadcast.
はい。
Alright, so the letter live will kick off in 15 minutes, 11 a.m. 本番はこの後15分後11時、午前11時から始まりますので、一旦このまま2人に戻りますが、そのままページほっといていただければ始まりますので、また後ほどお会いしましょう。So we are going back to the cover image, but see you in 15 minutes. では一旦失礼します。
はい。
See you later.